Hello world, my name is Gabriela. Welcome to this video, and to my channel. I want to share with you my journey and process through painting my first solo mural. And it's very exciting. It took me about a month and a half, I think. Yes, and I took time lapses throughout the process, so that's what I'll be showing you today. I enjoyed watching it over because it looks like I'm painting it's like a life-size coloring book. That's how it kind of looks. So I hope that you enjoy watching the process, and whether you're an artist or not, whether you're looking for inspiration of how to go about painting a mural, maybe this can help you out, or hope you just enjoy it. And not only the video, like seeing the process, but the mural itself too, and my intentions and motivations behind it. Oh, and by the way, the mural is titled "Magic's Time is Always Near." So get ready for the magic. So the first step was to prep the space by putting plastic on the floor and tape on the ceiling and the wall, like on the sides, so I wouldn't paint over the area that I was supposed to. And then the second step was to prep the wall with gesso, to basically start with a blank slate. And I want to give a shout out to my dad, who helped me with prepping the space and also with laying down the gesso, because it took, like, just to prep the space, probably like 3 hours. But yeah, and then the next step was to project my sketch onto the wall and trace it with a color pencil, just so I have a general idea of the composition, even though I knew it would somewhat change as I painted. And then the next step was to outline what I had drawn with color pencil. So now with black paint, I outlined everything, and I was able to see the whole scene, the whole composition, and observe it well, because it's very different having a sketch on like a 9 by 12 inch paper versus like I think it was 12 by 15 feet, honestly. But it did change my whole perspective in terms of considering how I would want people to feel when they enter the space and see the mural. And my goal was for them to feel welcome or drawn to it, which I feel like I definitely accomplished, but you will see that later. But yeah, I definitely made some changes in, like, for my sketch. For example, right now you can see that I'm painting the willow tree, but it was not a willow tree in my original sketch. But I just felt called to paint a willow tree. And it was interesting how even throughout the whole process, the mural would kind of speak to me. Like, it would tell me what it wanted. Like, later on, here I am changing the mushrooms, because I wanted different types of mushrooms, not all of them to be the same. And then I added more fairies than I had in the original sketch. So it kind of went changing as I listened to the mural. But yeah, just to let you know a bit about the background of the inspiration. The mural lives in a community center called Bienestar, which is in Chicago. It's by a grassroots organization called Gage Park Latinx Council, or GPLXC for short. And Bienestar is a center that offers access to holistic wellness practices and sessions at no cost to the community members or to the public. Like, I've gone to a few workshops. The ones that I enjoyed were the sound meditation, sound healing sessions, and also the tea workshops talking about the beneficial properties of certain teas, what they can help with to regulate your nervous system or different things. But yeah, basically, the space feels very welcoming, it feels like a sacred space, a sanctuary in a way. And I definitely wanted the mural to reflect this magical space of healing and community and solidarity. And the director of Bienestar approached me with the idea of a fairy forest or a mushroom forest where, because she was reading at the time a book called Maria Sabina Selections. And Maria Sabina basically was an indigenous woman in Mexico, in Oaxaca, who was a curandera, like a shaman, and who had communication with magic mushrooms. They spoke to her, and she was able to heal people with the mushrooms and also receive valuable information about her own life, but also in general. And the only thing that is unfortunate is that word kind of got out that she was able to heal people with these mushrooms, and this American couple went to her, like where she lived, and pretended that they were sick or needed some type of cure. And then Maria Sabina, who had such a pure heart, was like, yes, of course, I will help you. And from then on, there were a lot of Americans that came to the area where she lived, which is where the mushrooms were. And they would arrive and just pluck the mushrooms without consideration for the mushrooms themselves, like the nature, or their surroundings, like the people that lived there, or anything. And they had no real respect, or they didn't honor the mushrooms like Maria Sabina did. So yeah, that was the unfortunate part, because she had such a spiritual connection with these mushrooms who spoke to her, and she called them niños santos, like holy children. And I just want to hold space for a moment of silence right now for Maria Sabina, for the harm that was caused to her and her community, and these magical mushrooms. So, thank you for sharing that moment. And but yeah, basically this is all the background story to why the director at Bienestar was thinking about mushrooms and was inspired by them and imagined a mushroom or fairy forest, like an ecosystem of mushrooms and trees, especially because mushrooms, you might be able to pluck one out of the ground, but little do you know that underneath that is such a small part of what mushrooms really are, because there is a whole web. They have a whole web down there, which is called mycelium. And it's basically a network in which mushrooms communicate with each other and with trees. And they pass nutrients to each other, they pass water, and they also warn of potential viruses or threats. And the trees are even, through this network, they are even able to, when they hear kind of like the alarm, that there is danger, then they're able to put up more defenses and have their baby trees like tell the baby trees to grow further away from where they are. And it's just so amazing to me. Like, to give you an idea of how expansive this mycelium network is, it's amazing because it's basically thread like structures that are called hyphae. So, a bunch of hyphae interconnected creates this whole mycelium network. And if you're on a walk in a forest, imagine every step that you take, there is like hundreds of feet of mycelium under every step that you take in the forest. And this is in one forest only. So imagine all of the forests, all of the places where this mycelium exists in the world. That is just so magical. And essentially, what I wanted to do with this mural is reflect or show how the mycelium network, this mushroom ecosystem and fairy forest, is a metaphor for the space at Bienestar. But yeah, and here I am still painting away and getting closer. And just FYI, I didn't really record the all of the details that I added later on, cause Loki, I was listening to Rampages by High Frequency Guru and just really in the zone, and also it wasn't really showing up that well on the camera. But I'm gonna read you the description that I wrote for the mural. So once again, the title is Magic's Time is Always Near. I invite you to enter this fairy forest portal and witness a magical ecosystem full of life, connection, and transformation. At the heart of the scene, a fairy gently dips her foot into a flowing river, activating ripples of energy that spiral outward, symbolizing the power of presence and healing. Beside her, another fairy holds her hand, a gesture of support and solidarity, emphasizing the strength found in community. Golden root like lines emerge from beneath the mushrooms, representing their mycelium network, a hidden yet vital system through which fungi communicate and share nutrients with trees and each other. This intricate web serves as a metaphor for Bienestar itself, a space where wisdom, healing, and nourishment for the mind, body, and soul are exchanged. The title, Magic's Time is Always Near, is inspired by Harriet Tubman's words, God's time is always near, which expressed her faith in divine guidance as she fearlessly worked to free enslaved people in those times. Similarly, this mural at Bienestar serves as a reminder that magic time is not something distant. It is the time we choose, the time we actively create together. Just as mycelium fosters resilience and interdependence in nature, Bienestar cultivates a sanctuary for growth, connection, and restoration. This mural is a visual celebration of this often unseen yet powerful network, reminding us that magic is not only real, but always within reach, manifesting through our collective intentions and shared wisdom. So, yeah, I went off. I do want to say, I want to take a moment to give a shout out to my dad for not only giving me advice as a muralist throughout the process, but also for giving me rides every day to the mural. And this is the final masterpiece. Oh! But yeah. And here I am, all happy and proud, and thanking Source. I want to thank Source. So that is my first solo mural. Thank you so much for watching. I was gonna say a side note that since my mural was indoors, I didn't have to apply varnish. But if you're painting a mural outdoors, then you do need to apply varnish at the end. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you made it through this whole video, you are a real one, and all my love goes out to you. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.